Hi you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I am going to show you guys something that I think almost everyone can relate to and benefit from. And that is taking a piece of furniture that you already own, that is in good condition, fully functional, but it's just not your style anymore. Or maybe it's outdated. And I will show you guys that the power of paint is real. So today I am showing you a set of nightstands that our client owned. They brought them to me and they're really nice quality. They're in good shape, but they're a bit outdated. And like I said, just not their style. So I used a color called Clapboard by Melange to give them a whole new look. So I hope you guys will consider giving that a try whenever you have an outdated piece of furniture instead of going out and buying brand new. You can make it your own, make it better, and make it beautiful using paint. So here's today's video, and I hope you guys enjoy. So here are the nightstands that my client brought me. And as you can see, they are nice. They're actually very large. And overall, they are in good condition. There is some damage on the top, but that's okay. I am going to sand and paint those per my client's request. But they're also just kind of dark and outdated. But functionally, they're great. So I can understand why they wanted to give these a makeover versus going out and buying brand new. Now, this part right here is metal, and I asked what they wanted to do with that, and they wanted me to paint right over it. And I will show you guys that in this video, how I do that to ensure proper adherence. They also wanted different hardware on the drawers. So I brought them inside and kind of gave them a further inspection. As you can see, I have the drawers out at this point, and I already removed the hardware. I wish I would have gotten a video of how we had to do that. It was not easy. My client told me that he wasn't able to do it, and I was like, I'll figure it out, but it was hard. I needed my husband's help and creativity for getting out the old knobs, but luckily we were able to do so. This client bought a buffet from me, and it's going in the same room as these nightstands, so they wanted me to paint these in the same color. The first thing that I did was sand down the tops. I'm using my Festool sander and dust extractor. I'll make sure to link both of these for you guys. It's a lifesaver being able to sand inside my home, even though right now it's absolutely beautiful weather here. In the winter, there is no way I could live without this. Anyway, I'm giving everything a good scuff sanding. These will be all painted. We are not leaving any wood, and I'm even painting the metal detail. And again, this is per my client's request. So I'm giving everything a good scuff sanding with 220 grit. And this is just to remove a little bit of the existing finish to ensure better paint adherence. And I'm even scuff sanding the metal detail. Now it's time to give them a good cleaning. I'm using my favorite cleaner and degreaser. This is called Anvil by Melange, and it's a non-soapy, non-foamy formula so that I can just clean my pieces once. I don't have to come back in with clear water to remove any of the soapy residue. And I will make sure to link this for you guys as well. You guys will notice that I almost always have my earbuds in when I'm recording videos. I love to listen to audiobooks or podcasts. If you're a furniture painter or refinisher, or just if you listen to things while you work, let me know in the comments. What do you guys listen to? Is it podcasts, books, or music? And what are your favorite genres? Mine is always thrillers or true crime. Okay, so on this project, I am using two different kinds of primers for two different reasons. I'm using the clear bonding primer on the metal detail. This will just make sure that the paint adheres properly. You can use this if you ever have a slick surface. And then I'm using the stain blocking primer on the tops of these pieces because you can see those deep pine knots and just really deep wood grain. So I want to make sure to seal that in and that they don't bleed through the paint. So here's the clear bonding primer going on the metal detail. I'm using an older brush. This is a Rachel brush by Melange, but it's not one of my good ones. It's older. I would use maybe a foam brush or a chip brush. Don't use one of your good brushes for this step. You don't want to ruin your good brushes. This product is excellent for paint adherence. I'm using it on metal here, but I've also used it on laminate or Formica, or if I ever have a piece that has like a really shiny, slick finish, and even if I scuff sand it, I might still be worried about paint adherence, and this just really ensures that you'll get that. Now here's the stain blocking primer. This is white. Same with this one, you guys. Don't use a really good brush. I am using one of my older Rachel brushes for this, but I've also used foam rollers or just cheap chip brushes for this. You can clean it off right away, but if you don't clean it soon enough, it will ruin your brush. So make sure that you don't use a good one. And then once this is completely dry, I give it a few hours. It will block in the wood tannins. And in this case, I really want to block in that thick wood grain and those deep pine knots because they can bleed through your paint over time. And this stain blocking primer is just perfect for projects like this. I would also use the stain blocking primer if I were painting a piece that was a very dark wood tone and I was going to a light color like a white and I was worried about bleed through. Now, after the primer is completely dry, I sand it. I give it a fine sanding with a Surf Prep rad pad and a very fine grit. This is just going to make sure that you have a nice smooth surface before you start painting. I really love the Surf Prep rad pads. They come in several different grits. I use them all the time, and you can order these through Melange's website. So you can also use my discount code on these as well, and I'll make sure to link them. Now, the color that we're going with is called Clapboard, and it's a new Melange shade. It's curated by Summer at Pinewood Charm. You can find her on Facebook and Instagram. You can see it's this beautiful deep neutral. It's kind of like a tan or a taupe, but it does have strong gray undertones. And when it's dry and when I show you the finished product, you will see the gray tones in this color. I'm using my Rachel brush. This is also by Melange. It's my go-to brush. I use it all the time. I love the grip. It holds the perfect amount of paint, and it's just so easy to use. I always start by painting the tops of my pieces and then work my way down. Now, I'm sure you guys have pieces like this in your own home that maybe you bought several years ago. They're not vintage, they're not antique, but they're outdated now. They're in good condition, but they're not your style anymore. And I get it. That is actually how I kind of started with furniture painting. We had just bought our home and we needed to furnish it, and we didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on brand new furniture that wasn't really high quality. So I started painting what we had or what I found. And it's just such a great way to update your pieces, update your home with what you already have. The power of paint, you guys, is real. You can see here that I painted right over that metal detail. Once it was dry, I did test it to make sure that it adhered properly. I gave it a good scratching and that paint was not coming off. So I was very, very pleased with that. The primer and top coat are built in with melange paints, so that's why I didn't have to prime the entire piece. I only primed the areas that I was concerned with. Again, I used the bonding primer on the metal detail, and I used the stain blocking primer on the tops as well as the drawers because that's where the pine knots and the wood grain was the thickest, and I wanted to make sure that that was sealed in. I exclusively brush all of my pieces. I don't spray. I really enjoy brushing, and I don't really have a space or the setup for spraying, but with this paint, it's so easy to use and it's self-leveling, meaning that once it's dried and cured, you won't see any of the brush strokes, and I just love it. And reminder, the primer and top coat are built in, so you don't have to take those extra steps either. When you are hand brushing, you want to make sure to do light coats with a light hand. So even if your first coat looks a little bit scary, don't worry. You'd rather have it go on light and thin than too thick. With the additional coats, it will fill in and level out and look beautiful. I'm just showing you guys the first coat here, but I did end up doing a total of 3 coats. Now here's your reminder of what they looked like before. Not bad, just a little bit outdated and kind of dark. That knob on the front didn't really match. And here's what they look like now. So much better, right? Just more modern, more sleek. I added a simple knob that I spray painted in my favorite Rustic Mist by Rust-Oleum. I'll link that for you guys as well. The finish is just perfect. It's not matte. It's not glossy. It's just the perfect satin sheen. Again, you guys, this color is called Clapboard by Melange. It's a beautiful neutral shade. It's a little bit of a chameleon. In darker lighting, you can see more of the brown. And then when it's lighter out, you see more gray. But either way, it's absolutely beautiful. I hope that you guys will give this a try with your own outdated furniture. You can use my code JEN10 for 10% off your Melange orders. I'll make sure to link everything that I used in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram as well.